Some men don't just disagree with you, right? They oppose you. Everything you say is a debate, a correction, some kind of contradiction. It is the most maddening experience when you're dealing with someone like this. Let's say you say something relatively normal, and then you find yourself defending yourself like you're in court. If you feel like you're litigating every friggin' conversation in your relationship, I bet you that you're dealing with someone who is highly antagonistic. If you're in an antagonistic relationship, it's going to feel like combat all the time, right? And I'm sure you're thinking like, here we go again. We're in a courtroom again. I'm debating my opinion again, debating reality again. So let's talk about these highly antagonistic men that trap women in relationships. Before we go any further, if you don't know me, my name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach. I specialize in toxic and abusive relationships. I specialize in helping women exit relationships like this because it's really hard to detach from a man that you are feeling trauma bonded to or in love with, because these relationships oscillate, right? Even the most antagonistic abuser is kind sometimes, right? So it makes it really difficult. So I help women exit relationships with men like this and also rebuild their lives after relationships like this. In the meantime, hit subscribe, because on my channel, I specifically break down all of these tactics that these abusive men use, and I expose their tactics so that you can see exactly what they're doing. Now, let's just kind of agree to start in one place. What is antagonistic? What does that even mean? This is somebody who is honestly oppositional just by default. Somebody who just kind of like, no, you're wrong. No, that's not true. Always has a correction, always has to contradict. You feel like you're litigating. It feels very combative. They will challenge you. They will escalate. A lot of abusive relationships are characterized by this. And what's really interesting is not everybody who is antagonistic is narcissistic, but everybody who's narcissistic is antagonistic. The cluster B personality disorders are considered the antagonistic group of personality disorders. Not all abusers fit the criteria for these diagnoses, but let's remember, narcissism is a personality trait in addition to narcissistic personality disorder being a disorder. We're not going to get caught up on the language. Let's talk about the patterns. Let's talk about the behavior. That's what matters. So this is somebody who's not occasionally going to argue with you here and there, but I'm talking like baseline. Every time you say anything, it feels like this person is just challenging you in some way. And this brings forward a lot of defensiveness in us. We want to be seen and heard the way that we see ourselves. So we find ourselves justifying and arguing and defending and explaining and being sucked into these horrible no-win arguments, these circular conversations that ultimately make you crazy. Now, a healthy relationship isn't about winning or losing, but to somebody who's antagonistic, they have got to win. You don't feel like a partner with somebody like this because it's very adversarial. So there's always some kind of debate, always a battle. You can literally feel unbelievably exhausted every single day in dealing with someone like this. So let's talk about some of the more overt ways, right? Because this is the obvious piece that I think it's what people tend to see, what people tend to accept as antagonistic. When somebody is just picking fights with you, when they're yelling, right? They're mocking you. They escalate baseline disagreements that should be quite small, but suddenly it's this big thing. It's because they want to create the drama. They want the argument. They want to get one over on you. They want to prove their point. They want to make it clear. That's really overt. That said, when you're in it, it doesn't always feel antagonistic. It can feel like you're just wrong all the time. That often can make you smaller and smaller, and therefore more accepting of their version of reality and their version of events. I mean, there's a little overarching piece here of gaslighting to always get you to question your reality and believe them because, hey, the loudest person can win, right? A lot of these small issues become like full-blown arguments, but that's pretty overt. The covert ways are much harder to spot, and that's what I really want to focus on. These guys, they're not arguing with you. They're not arguing. They're just discussing.
I'm just having a conversation with you. Relax. You're so emotional. Calm down.
But you were never not calm to begin with, or they're winding you up a bit. Being told that you're not calm, it's one of the fastest ways to make you not calm. So if you started calm, good luck remaining calm when you're talking to somebody who's antagonistic like this. So in these cases, a lot of what you say gets corrected. you weren't wrong, but you used the wrong word. I'm thinking of actually a clip from the TV show Couples Therapy, and this clip was like super viral. I forget everybody's name in the clip, but the point is the man in the relationship was always kind of combative. And the therapist actually says, do you notice that it's kind of hard to meet you anywhere? Like everything is just not quite right. It's not quite the right word. It's not quite the right description. It's not quite how it happened. It's just slightly off. He always had something to say. And he immediately corrected her and was like, well, no, that's not. And his wife was like, do you see? You're doing it right now. If everybody's seen that clip, it's a perfect example of the covert antagonism. Normal conversations are going to turn into debates. And it's a really common one. And I swear so many people have been through this. I know I've been through it and I hear about it constantly from clients is I wasn't yelling. I just raised my voice, right? Like, stop yelling at me. And he's like,
my God, I'm not yelling. You want to see yelling?
Right? And he'll escalate. It's so clear. It's antagonistic. We're not going to debate whether you're screaming or yelling or raising your voice. That is just semantics. Who cares? The point is the impact, but they don't want you to focus on that. They want to trip you up with what they meant and what's actually yelling because they're adversarial. You're just wrong. He could be thinking he's raising his voice. You could say, fine, I'm never going to use the word yelling again. I'm going to say you're raising your voice. And he'd be like, I'm not raising my voice because you're always wrong, because he's antagonistic. A guy like this, especially the covert one, he's going to nitpick all the little details, right? Dinner's good. Needs a little salt, but it's good. Got to make a correction. Got to have something to say. And I'm telling you, when you're in this, you feel like you have to defend every sentence, right? You start taking a step back and thinking, is this what I want to say? Is this the right word? Should I even bother? It just makes you smaller and smaller. And in all honesty, a lot of the times they're just trying to make you fundamentally disappear, right? Talk about eroding your sense of self, as therapists say. That's exactly how they do it. It's one of the many ways that they execute that strategy. Now, here's the thing, right? Why be so antagonistic? This is so combative. What's the purpose of all of this? It's not always about communication because that's the trap, right? It's just the way I speak. It's just the way I communicate. You can't always attack how I say things. Meanwhile, a man like this, he absolutely knows because if you were screaming at him, he would call you all kinds of names and flip out and things would also escalate. He can't be yelled at, but you can be yelled at. This is not about a communication style, okay? It's not just aggressive communication or antagonistic communication. All of this gives him power. It gives him control. That's what this is all about. And I mean, we say this ad nauseum in the abuse community. Abusive men want power and control. And this is one of the ways that they get that. Conflict makes them feel powerful, right? I can get her to be all worked up. I can get her to cry. I can get her to scream. I can get her to react. They love being able to wind you up and create this in you because it tells them that you care. It tells them that they have the power to do these things. That matters. That's what's going on. They feel entitled to the behavior. They feel entitled to have this dominance over you. And the truth is, if every conversation is a challenge and a battle and a fight, it leads you to exhaustion and then you comply. You just stop. You just don't even try. You don't even bother. You don't ask for help. You don't challenge him anymore because it's too hard. It's too exhausting. You've been with this person for what, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? You've been with this person for too long, married or in a relationship with. I don't care if you've been with them for 3 weeks, girl. It is too long to be with someone who is constantly trying to battle you. In these cases, peace becomes so much more important than the truth. The truth is he's being antagonistic on purpose. He's being combative on purpose. But now you're just so tired. All you want is peace. And this makes you comply. And then he wins. But the long-term cost of being in a relationship like this is so absolutely brutal on the victims that are in relationships like this. You completely lose yourself. You're living in his reality. You're complying in a life that you're not even happy in. I speak to women every day who are just wildly exhausted. Did you know that exhausted is the number one word that I hear in women enrolled in my course, enrolled in my group coaching programs, or working with me one-on-one? Because you're just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take one more minute with someone like this. But if you're in a trauma bond, you also can't take one more minute like this, and you can't leave because you love the person and you really want them to change. So I know that if you're deeply trauma bonded, it makes it really hard to actually take steps and take action. But let's start with just exposing what is going on here. You want peace. You want solutions, right? You want repair. Somebody like this, they don't want any of those things. They want dominance. They want to win. They want to create an argument. The argument is the winning. It's not really a matter of who wins the argument itself. It's that you're arguing. That already means that they win. In a healthy relationship, nobody's thinking about winning and losing. You're thinking about the impact on the whole relationship. But an antagonistic abuser is just trying to hurt you. That's it. They're trying to mold you into this compliant, submissive nothing with no opinions and frankly, no feelings. A person who's not impacted by all of this battle. If you feel like you're litigating, if you feel like you're just always debating, you're in a relationship with somebody who is antagonistic at best and narcissistic at worst. A healthy relationship, it's not adversarial. Can you imagine feeling peace? And I tell you, peace in a relationship where your feelings are actually part of the equation and you actually matter, that's incredible. That is incredible. You know what's also incredible? Just being single and not being with a man who's combative like this. There are so many people in this world who are not adversarial and combative. Make space for more of those people. Enjoy your peace without constantly battling someone. At some point, you've got to stop asking, how can I say this better so that he doesn't argue with me, and just accept the fact that you can't do this anymore. Ask yourself, why am I living with someone who treats every conversation like a battleground? That's the question. That's what matters. Hit subscribe. Follow me on social media, check out my books, work with me one-on-one, enter my group coaching programs, or join me in my community She Rises Collective that I co-host with therapist Shelly Pumphrey, where you get 24/7 support, group coaching, workshops, special events, and more. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you in the next video.